Why not us podcast? We had a little snafu today.
Yeah, we do.
We're gonna do a quick live and
technical difficulty.
Yeah. We're kind of learning some stuff with the old YouTube platform. So anyway, here we are. We're gonna drop a quick, short little discussion about Neuralink.
Yeah.
Rather than do it live, it'll show up here shortly. So hopefully it'll kind of have the same effect.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this, man. There was an article that was released that the very first Neuralink chip was implanted in a human.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Holy buckets.
So for those who don't
Sci-fi.
know,
Here we go.
So for those who don't know, Neuralink has built a brain-computer interface.
Yes.
That would help people with traumatic injuries operate phones and PCs using only their thoughts.
Yes, telepathy.
Mind control.
Yeah, telepathy. Right? Do you know that when Elon Musk started this, I remember the discussion, he wanted to do something where like you and I would be able to communicate telepathically. That was the initial idea.
Was it really?
Yeah. I think it was like in 2017. 2017, he tried to bring the idea to the table to get some investors behind it. People like BlackRock Neurotech.
Okay, makes sense, I guess.
Right.
Imagine that.
But anyway, long and the short, man, I guess really the reason that obviously that was kind of unrealistic and scary. I guess really to try to get this thing to fruition, there had to be some sort of medical benefit.
Right.
And so that's where it turned into
people with disabilities.
Right.
Yeah. Traumatic
ALS or traumatic injuries. What was some of the other stuff I saw in here? Essentially to be able to, so it sounds to me like, Mike, and you tell me if this is the way you understand it too, it sounds like this chip that they implant in your brain, it basically intercepts your neurological, connections in your brain.
Yep.
And then reroutes them to allow people to regain control of their movement.
Or their technology.
Of their limbs, right?
Yeah, well, that was the original premise.
I think that's where they kind of took it. It's kind of like to try to help people be able to kind of regain lost function.
Okay.
Right.
But right now though, the chip is for operating technology.
Yeah, essentially being able to use use thoughts. So again, telepathy, right? But to do it to connect to technology, not to your own body or to another human.
Because I don't know. Is it just like Bluetooth? That's what it is. I don't know. So they received FDA approval for human clinical trials in May of last year.
Okay.
And then on January 29th, just a few days ago, Musk said that the Neuralink had successfully implanted a Neuralink device in a human on the day prior. The patient is recovering and added initial results show promising neuron spike detection.
Really interesting, man. I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Yeah.
And, this is another one of those kind of interesting topics, man, because there's a huge opportunity to help a lot of people if this works. And then there's also a really scary kind of, again, kind of the sci-fi
movie.
We start putting chips in people's brains so that we can read their thoughts. Like, what the hell's going on here? I think a lot of people are scared shitless.
Yeah. Have you seen how large it's the size of like a $50?
Yeah, I have no idea what it looks like. I was trying to look it up.
It's the size of a large coin.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it has a bunch, and then it has 48 or 96 wires, each of which contains 32 independent electrodes, making a system of up to 3,072 electrodes per formation.
Really interesting.
And a neurosurgical robot is what does the implanting, because it can go so fast that it doesn't damage the tissue too much.
Yeah. Wow.
So, right. I mean,
really interesting stuff, man. Really interesting. And then, this is chalk another one up to some crazy idea from Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people were like, there's no way he's ever going to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah. Well, now it's in a human.
Yeah. I will say, man, the guy's got a pretty strong track record of making ideas reality.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if they're kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Or they don't work, or he blows up rockets.
Yeah. True.
I mean, he said not every idea works. I mean, that's part of innovation, right? It's like you got to go through trial and error in some of this situation, right? Yep. And it's a little scary to think about trial and error, though, when we're talking about chips in human brains.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, what's next, right? So first of all, I first want to say, if this works, and someone who's disabled or whatever can control a phone or a PC, I mean, think Stephen Hawking, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, never mind, because he was on Epstein's island. But if it truly works, it's great, right? It allows people to use technology that they couldn't before, right? And it enables them to do so many more things,
right?
So that's great. Well, where does it, I mean, where does this road go? And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad road. I'm just saying, where does the road go?
I think that's where the fear comes into play, right? I think like we just said, there's so many positive things that can come out of this, and probably so many things that we're not even thinking about that it could be used for in a positive way. And I think there's probably a lot of really weird things that could be done with the technology that would not be positive.
Well, you know, of course, that the government is going to step in almost immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to regulate, just like they did, just like they tried to do with AI. We have to regulate this. We have to figure it out. It's you know, it's dangerous. It's just so they can get their hands on it, right? Their claws and
try to understand the technology.
Right.
No, and that's the part that makes me nervous, right? It's like, I mean, dude, our phones almost at this point are able to gather so much data that they know what you're thinking.
Oh, well, how many times have you had a conversation about something and you pull up, you know, your Facebook feed or whatever, and there's an advertisement for what you were just talking about?
Yes. Or you're, you know, you run into somebody in the store and then all of a sudden they show up as a, you know, somebody you should connect with in social media or something along those lines.
So where does the road go? I mean, does the road go to where you get in your car and you just think about where you want to go and think about what speed you want to go? Is it manufacturing? Is it, you know, tractors and cranes and shit like that?
I want to know what the pitfalls are. Like, you know, what happens when I'm like really have to focus on something and then I like think about boobies. You know what I mean?
Think about Nancy's cans.
Dude, that happens. So, and sometimes it's sudden and unexpected.
Wait, but what happened?
That's just the truth. I mean, again, that's kind of a stupid example, but like, what happens if you're utilizing your thoughts to be able to control or certain aspects of whatever this technology is used for, and I have interrupted thoughts all the time, all over the place. You know that.
Well, what happens? So let's play this out a little.
I think it's a valid question
because we're degenerates, right? So let's play this out a little.
Yeah, let's go.
So our entire life is now controlled by our thoughts, right? Ooh. So our car, our home, our kitchens, I
got to clean it up. No question.
But everything's controlled by your thought. If this road truly goes like that far, what happens when you get hammered?
Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, is it just chaos?
Yeah, can you like pause it?
Whatever you do.
I mean, honestly, man, these are interesting questions because I mean, do we even you know, how I'm sitting here thinking, this sounds probably silly, but I'm like, how much do I even really control my own thoughts?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
you know, things, I mean, memories, you know, things pop into your head, or you think about the thing you forgot to do yesterday, or you know, whatever, right? I mean, it's just sort of all over the map for me, right?
As you're driving down the road,
much more put together, but you know, wow, man, that I just got more nervous about it than I was before.
you got opening, right? You have a few beers, next thing you know, your house is burning.
I'm telling you, man, I'm thinking just more like, you know, somebody cuts you off on the highway, and all of a sudden you're super angry, and you have all these, you know, hateful, and
a 30 count minigun,
F-bombs,
30 count minigun comes out the hood
because the car just explode, like you know, I don't know, man, like that's I mean, because that's a real thing. I mean, we live in a world of constant stimulation.
Yep.
There's always things going on around us that I don't think a lot of those things are natural.
I agree.
You know, it's like we've built our own little kind of, you know, world that we live in. That's the concrete jungle, and you know, the horns and traffic lights and dogs and, you know, whatever else you hear people yelling at each other. That could go a lot of different ways.
Good.
You know, good or bad.
It could go really good or it could go really bad.
It's really cool, man. I mean, I am really, really hopeful. I mean, obviously, like ALS is such an awful disease. You know, it would be incredible just to give, even if you could give some of those people relief or some portion of their life back, it would be amazing. So it's a great thing. I hope that it goes the way that I think it's sort of going.
Supposed to, maybe?
Yeah, it's supposed to go. Yeah, that's probably a better way to say it. I don't know. What do you think? Is it gonna work? What's the prediction?
I think it'll work.
You think it'll work?
Eventually it'll work. I think that the going down the road and controlling cars or controlling your home. That's
and I think we're talking about the base level of this particular experiment, or not, I shouldn't say experiment now, but this trial of actually allowing somebody to use thoughts to control some technology, some device, you know, something where they can communicate. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would. I
Awesome.
think so.
Yeah, I hope it works.
I hope it works too, particularly for the the individuals that are afflicted with something, right?
Absolutely, or injuries, man. People who again, I mean, life-changing injuries for people that all of a sudden you're living a normal life.
Do you remember this? What year were you born?
81.
81. I think it came out that year.
Okay.
Remember the movie with Clint Eastwood called Firefox?
No. I don't think I've ever seen it.
So it was
you know me, man. I'm not much of a movie guy.
Yeah. But. So it was the plot was that Clint Eastwood spoke Russian. He was an American pilot, American fighter pilot.
Okay.
But he spoke Russian and he could think in Russian. And the fighter jet responded to his thoughts, but he had to think it in Russian. And so so the United States wanted to steal it, and they had to use him because he thought and he could think in Russian.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, that's
essentially.
I'll look it up, but I think it was like 1980 something like that.
Wow, kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we're talking about. So yeah, anyway, so this is just a quick little tidbit.
1982.
Check out Neuralink. Let's keep an eye on this stuff. I think we should definitely do an update on this here too as we hear more. I'm sure they will I'm sure they'll have updates coming out on kind of how the progress goes. I think there's a lot of people watching this, right? And kind of wondering what's going to happen.
Well, I think we're both interested in what the government's going to do.
That too, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, is there military purpose? Is there some utility for the military out of this? I'm sure there is.
Dude, I can think of a lot of weird things.
Heck yeah. Well, yeah.
Right? It's like if you really want to know what's going on in somebody's head, just pop one of these babies in and it spits out on a fucking tablet. Okay. You know what I mean? I don't know, right? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, interrogations. There's I can think of all kinds of weird uses that may or may. I don't know enough about the technology to understand how it works. Right. But it's it's interesting to think that we have progressed to this point, Mike, where we can actually stick a chip in somebody's brain and hope that it's going to give them back maybe some portion of their life or some functionality that they didn't have.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
I hope so.
I do too.
I'm
also scared shitless, especially after the conversation we just had. So we'll wait and see. I'm not going to sign up to be on the list.
Yeah, but remember, they took volunteers.
Yeah.
So remember when I brought this up to you the other day? I said, hey, when we're going to do a live, we should do the Neuralink. And you're like, dude, have you ever seen a sci-fi movie? You were like, no,
I don't want to do this. God, they should put do you think that one of these things could get like Joe Biden to be able to read a teleprompter?
No,
me neither.
I don't think the technology exists.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got too many synapses going off in his head.
There's no connection whatsoever.
Oh, that's bad. All right, let's get this thing shut. All right, thank you everybody.
Sorry for the technical difficulty. But we'll get this out quick.
Yes, and remember to check us out, all caps on Spotify. Why Not Us? We've got our new YouTube channel up, which is Why Not Us 1776, all one word, I believe.
Yep.
Where else can people find us? What am I forgetting?
I'm forgetting something. WhyNotUsPod.org.
Why not our website? Our website. How do I forget that?
I don't know. All right. You probably never looked at it.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Jimmy here at Why Not Result. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to cut my screen time now, man. It's giving me a hard time. Jimmy at Why Not Results has been helping us out. So thanks to Jimmy. We will see you guys again here soon. Mike and I are going to be recording all day today. So we will be dumping a whole bunch of stuff here every Friday.
I think we're going to go get a burger and a beer.
I'm going to get a burger for sure. Yeah. I'm going to definitely get some grease in my belly and this little, been putting on a few pounds cold up there where I live right now. So trying to stay alive, bro.
Your winter weight?
Yeah, that's right. I do have a winter weight. That's a real thing.
Little insulation.
It could be too that I just like it's dark every,
Well, that's why
we won't get into all that.
That's why the hair everywhere.
Yeah. Remember when I thought you were Norwegian? With a Mac in the front. Oh, that's fun. That was awesome. All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys again soon.
All right. Take care.